Does Doom the Dark Ages herald a dark age for the franchise, or can it stand and fight? As a lifelong Doom fan, I've ripped and torn through every entry, from the 1993 classic to Doom Eternal's masterpiece of chaos. The series is my gaming heartbeat, fast, brutal, and unapologetic. So when Doom the Dark Ages was announced with its medieval twist and bold new mechanics, my excitement was through the roof. But after playing, I'm left questioning if this is the Slayer's fall, or a flawed step forward. Let's dive into why its slower pace breaks the edge for Doom's faithful. Doom the Dark Ages strays far from the blistering chaos of Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. 2016 revived the series with a perfect blend of speed and strategy, modernizing the Slayer's rampage. Eternal cranked it to a Quake-like frenzy, with dashes, glory kills, and combat loop that made you a god of destruction. Dark Ages, however, slams the brakes, turning the Slayer into a sluggish tank wielding a shield. This pace might click for casual players drawn to its accessibility, but for hardcore fans like me, it's a maddening crawl that dulls Doom's soul. I'll break down the combat, new features, story, visuals, audio, and more to show why this feels like a misstep. The shield in Doom the Dark Ages is a betrayal-shattering gameplay in the Slayer's identity. This badass is the shield, a walking juggernaut who fears nothing. Yet here he cowers behind one, feeling weak despite his might. It could be argued that id Software introduced the shield to add tactical depth, encouraging players to master defensive strategies alongside offensive aggression, potentially broadening the combat's appeal. A layer to top Doom Eternal's fluid movement and fast-paced flow, this mechanic might have enriched the Slayer's arsenal. However, by replacing the series' hallmark mobility with a sluggish, tank-like approach, the shield strips away the strategic complexity and visceral intensity that defines Doom, resulting in a shallower experience that undermines the Slayer's identity. The parry system, even on the tightest window, makes fights overly simplistic. My footage shows every attack blocked effortlessly, yet some battles swing to unfair extremes. Certain arenas are tiny rooms packed with too many imps and hell knights, overwhelming your parry. Some arenas, like the first encounter against the Cybermancubus, are inescapable, since you can't sprint sideways, only forward. In Eternal, smart arenas like Taurus Nabad let skills save you with open spaces and verticality. Here, cheesy enemy placement feels like a cheap death sentence, punishing you for bad design, not a lack of skill. Only a few times do I get cornered with no escape, something Eternal's mobility would have dodged, but you can't help but think that if the Slayer had half the movement he did in Eternal, you would have been fine. Gunplay's a downgrade all around too. Unlike Eternal's precise arsenal where you swap between ballista and shotgun for specific demons, Dark Ages weapons crack metal or energy armor indiscriminately. No weak points like sniping Revenant or Archnatron turrets, stripping strategy. The Doom dance of dodging, glory killing, and targeting is dead, replaced by a clunky Dark Souls-esque slog. id Software likely chased casual appeal after Eternal's steep curve, but this mix of boring ease and unfair punishment breaks the hearts of fans craving Doom's chaos. Now, what was id thinking with Titan battles and dragon levels? These hyped additions rip you from Doom's heart-pounding core for a brain-dead slog. Titan battles, like the first Atlan mech level, boil down to spamming clicks and dodging green glowing attacks with no thrill, no depth. Dragon levels, like soaring over the holy city of Artem, look gorgeous but play like a turret shooter. Auto-aim, hold the trigger, dodge predictable projectiles. It's so simple a toddler could win. These feel like gimmicks to pad the 10-hour campaign, not enhancements to the Slayer's legacy. In Eternal, every moment from Super Gornest to Urdok push the combat loop. Here, these detours stall momentum, bloating the runtime at Doom's expense. Speaking of padding, Doom the Dark Ages story is a travesty. Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal nailed it. A lean point A to B narrative with lore tucked into codexes and environmental clues, just like Sentinel Prime's ruins. Dark Ages drowns this in tedious cutscenes, some dragging over 2 minutes, like the Slayer's origin. The plot is an amateur fanfic mess. I endured every scene for this review and regretted it. Fans just want to rip and tear, not sit through this drivel. Doom's music is its lifeblood, but Doom the Dark Ages soundtrack is hollow, soulless disaster that breaks my heart as a fan. 2016 and Eternal pulsed with Mick Gordon's metal masterpieces. Tracks like Rip and Tear and BFG Division were raw adrenaline, driving every chainsaw kill. Dark Ages' score, by contrast, is bland, uninspired, and corporate. like generic trailer music spat out by a boardroom. The final boss fight track's dull riffs and lifeless drums barely stir you. Unlike Internals, the only thing they fear is you, which made you a demon-slaying god. Worse, the audio mix is a mess. Music and sound effects bleed together, lacking Eternal's clear pitch separation. I missed a few audio cues because of muddled audio left me clueless. Now it could just be me, I'd lost all my hearing in my left ear a little after Eternal's release. However, I see the majority sentiment does also agree with my take here. This mess stems from id Software's falling out with Gordon, a public disaster that gutted Doom's soul. Gordon's genius is Doom's heartbeat. Without him, Dark Age's audio feels empty, leaving the Slayer's rampage quiet and confusing, a betrayal of the series' sonic legacy. Yeah, id Software nails Doom the Dark Age's visuals. Despite gameplay woes, the medieval grunge aesthetic is a visual feast, outshining Eternal's neon hell for some. Picture destroyed villages in Village of Kalim, hellish landscapes in Hellbreaker. Every frame at 4K max settings on my RTX 4080 dazzles. Textures are crisp, lighting moody, and capturing the Dark Age vibe. But optimization is a glaring flaw. The worst in modern Doom, only able to hit an average of 140 FPS because of DLSS and FrameGen, a crutch for modern developers. And stutters hit every 10 to 15 minutes. Nvidia's shaky drivers prompted at launch are likely culprits, frustrating most players on high-end rigs. I chose to use them because most players most likely will, given the game outright tells you to update to them at launch, even directing you to the latest driver page. Overall, replayability and lack of endgame content disappoint. Internal's master levels and horde mode rewarded skill. Dark Age's Ultra Nightmare mode is all it has. A nightmare is already easy to begin with, leaving no replay value. No robust endgame leaves little reason to return, unlike Eternal's endless pool. Community buzz shows a split. Hardcore fans crave Eternal's flow, while casual players appreciate Dark Age's simplified approach. This divide shapes my verdict. My harsh words come from a deep love for Doom. I want this iconic series to soar. I enjoyed Dark Age's brutal moments, where the shield and flail occasionally clicked, but I'm urging id Software to ditch this sluggish style and amplify Eternal's chaos with faster movement, deeper mechanics, and fair arenas. Dark Ages is a one and done. I'm back to Eternal's combat trance, replaying Necrovol for its perfect flow. For hardcore fans, Doom the Dark Ages earns a 4 out of 10, as it lacks the adrenaline-pumping Doom dance of Doom Eternal. Feeling like a different game that fails to deliver the trance-like intensity and earned power fantasy central to the series' identity. For casual players, it merits a 7 out of 10, offering an accessible and forgiving experience that allows even less skilled players to enjoy every moment, delivering a power fantasy that, while unearned, remains engaging. These scores reflect the game's divergence from the franchise's core strengths versus its appeal to a broader, less demanding audience. What's your take on Doom the Dark Ages? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this review resonated, please like and subscribe for more gaming insights. Thank you for watching. Keep ripping and tearing.